Welcome to CIT218 Web Applications. In this course, you are going to be creating MVC full stack applications. MVC is really a powerful architecture, and we are going to be using C# along with Razor Pages and Entity Framework. So there's actually a lot to learn in this class. And some of you have exposure to Visual Studio, some of you do not. Some of you are familiar with .NET Core, some of you are not. So this first week, we're going to focus on getting your system set up and either introducing you to Visual Studio and .NET Core or reviewing it, okay, depending on where you're coming from. So if you look at the top, you'll notice that I do have links to different sites that are helpful for this course. Then I've got a link to the live stream office hours. And if you guys run into trouble, please come into the office hours because I really don't plan on doing anything except for helping students. And so I like it when students show up in my office hours. If these hours don't work for you, then just send me an email and I can meet you some other time. News and announcements from your instructor. Usually I post something here when I complete correcting for the week. I will let you know that the assignment is corrected because, as you know, you are allowed to fix your errors one time and resubmit. So once you see that the assignment's been corrected, that's kind of your clue to go out, take a look, and see if you missed any points because you can get those points back. Student questions and answers. This is for you guys to share information with each other. And then I've got our social media links, and we post events, CIT events. We also post internship opportunities and job opportunities to those pages and media outlets. Then as we go down, right now I've just got a couple blocks open. I've got the PD, Professional Development and Social Networking section open. And I've also got the course information, which is basically our first week. And you can see kind of the dates there. So for the first week, we have some orientation activities. And then you are going to be downloading and installing Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition. And then I did include some links to little tutorials on Visual Studio, how to customize it, a little overview of what it is, just for those of you who are not familiar with Visual Studio, or maybe you've never worked with an IDE before. Then, just as a little refresher and to get your feet wet, we're going to walk through a tutorial that creates a console application using .NET Core. Okay, and so you can kind of see how the project is set up and just get a little feel for ASP.NET. So you guys are going to start with looking at the syllabus. And one thing to definitely take note of is how you're going to be graded. The same office hours that I have posted at the top of the course are here. We do have a required textbook. And then this would be all of the hardware and software that you should have installed. And as you scroll through here, we get into the grading and how the points are distributed in this class. And then the grading scale. Okay, so we do have 1,000 points, and I do grade based on percentages. So you do want to, complete your assignments, any discussion, the professional development section, complete all of that, and you want to get as many points as you can. So you can kind of read through this. I think you guys are familiar with how I do things. So this isn't that much different. The college syllabus is the same for everybody. So you can read through that. But once you have read through the college syllabus, you really don't have to do it for every class because it is the same. The course assignment schedule, this is what we're going to do every single week. And I always tell students to print this out. The reason is that if you print it out, you can actually cross things off as you complete them, and it will help keep you on track because we do have due dates. The first week, things are due on Tuesday, but after that, it's Sunday evening, which is part of the reason I have 2 office hours on Sunday evening, so I can help people with any problems they've run into. You'll also notice that my office hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I have them before a 5:30 class on Monday and Wednesday, so they're 4:30 to 5:30. And on Tuesday, I have them from 3 to 4 before the CIT 255 class. And you guys are welcome to pop in and ask questions. If you need time outside of that, just email me. The student profile glossary, I think you guys have all done this before, but basically where that shows is up here. Every time you come into this course, you are going to see a different student. And right now you see me and my granddaughter. And so to create this, there is a little video you can watch, but it's really pretty simple. All you do is add a new entry, put your first and last name in here, insert or edit an image, and you'll probably have to browse and upload a file for this. Okay, actually I should spell it right. And we'll upload. And the reason I'm kind of going through this is because almost every picture that you're going to upload is going to be way too big. So here for the size, just change the width to 150 or 200. And then click in the height box and it will automatically resize. It does require some alt text. And then you can save the image. Okay, and it's below that you are going to enter your favorite quote or hashtags that are representative of you. And then you will click on save and you'll be done with this assignment. This is a graded assignment, so make sure you complete it. And then the other graded assignment that you need for orientation purposes is the discussion. So this is going to give a little bit more information about you. I would like to know your nickname, what your interests or hobbies are, what your program of study is, and then any additional information that you'd like to share about your work or your family or even your IT background. Anything you would like to share is fine. And if you're not comfortable sharing a lot of information, that is perfectly okay. You will notice that I share a lot because I take this as an opportunity to tell you a little bit about my background and kind of my journey from being a programmer analyst to a teacher. And then I kind of summarize the types of programs or courses that I teach and what I do in my very limited free time. Okay, so I tend to overshare. You guys do not need to write nearly that much. Only include what you're comfortable with. So that is also a graded activity. So both the profile and the discussion are graded. Make sure you complete them. And then that brings me to the section on installing Visual Studio. So we are using Visual Studio Community 2022. And one of the bigger changes is this one automatically includes GitHub. So you don't have to install an extension anymore. So if we click here, okay, you're going to go into this download page and then you pick the version that corresponds to your operating system. And again, we are using Visual Studio Community 2022. And then as far as installation and workloads, you should install all of these ones that have check marks. So basically everything except for the ones that say C++. And if you want to install C++, that's fine, but it's going to take up more room on your hard drive. Okay, so I would install everything similar to this. And it may take a while. Once you have the program installed, launch it, and then add a little screenshot to the Dropbox, and you get points for doing that. As far as customizing, you do not get points for customizing, but I know a lot of people like to customize. And you guys are pretty good at figuring out how to customize, but these little tutorials help you. You will notice that it does try to download Visual Studio again. So you can just cancel because you've already downloaded and installed it. And then there's getting started videos. There's video on themes. There's actually written instructions. So I found this helpful, and I think it'll be a good resource for you. Then we get into our first assignment. This is a coding assignment, and it is worth points. We are going to be following along a tutorial. And the tutorial is a Microsoft tutorial. And we're going to do a console application using ASP.NET Core 6. And this is really the only console app that we're going to do. And it's just to kind of familiarize you with Visual Studio if you've never used it, or if you have used it, kind of to refresh your memory. So it's a review or an introduction, depending on where you guys are coming from. And what we will be spending the majority of time on in this class is learning MVC. Microsoft has 3 different types of web apps. There's MVC, there's Razor Pages, and there is Blazor. And in this class, we are focusing on MVC. MVC is probably the one, it's incredibly powerful. It's great for developing a full stack web app. And it is not super easy to learn, although these newer versions of Visual Studio have simplified things a bit. So it is easier to learn now than it was, 5, 6 years ago. So we will be spending most of our time on MVC. And MVC, interestingly enough, uses a little different version of .NET Core. MVC uses .NET Core 3.1. Okay, and that has long-term support. Razor Pages is also something that we will be covering in a different class. I covered that in the CIT255 class. It is similar to MVC, but it's more of an MVVM because it does not have a controller. So you will see it just packages things a little differently. And so we get into walking through a Razor page tutorial pretty early on in the 255 class. We don't cover Blazor. Blazor is short for Browser Razor Pages. And I think it was Microsoft's intent to compete with React using Blazor. The Blazor apps are pretty much C# and HTML, and they don't use any of the JavaScript frameworks. MVC apps do utilize JavaScript, Bootstrap. You can pretty much pull in whatever framework you want in MVC. So they're a little bit more flexible. So you'll get exposure to Razor pages in the 255 and MVC in this class. So this assignment is a console app. We're going to be using .NET Core 6, which is the most current version. Not a whole lot of differences between version 5 and version 6 that I have seen, other than version 6 has long-term support. So what we'll be doing is walking through this, and we're going to go through the tutorials until we complete unit testing. Unit testing is something that is incredibly important. And it is something that is going to be on your software fundamental certification test. So the more exposure I can give you to unit testing, the better you're going to understand it. And hopefully you will do well on those unit test questions. So we are going to take a look at unit testing in here. We also look at unit testing in the 255 class, and we cover unit testing in the 228 class. And for the unit testing, it's the general concepts that you have to be aware of. So you will start with this very first tutorial. All right. And so you can see these kind of go in order. And so we are going to go all the way through unit test. Okay, so we're just doing these. And you'll see that I've got videos that I've created that you can watch. Okay, so the directions are pretty good. Videos walk you through it. When you're all done, you're actually going to have two different zipped files that you're going to be submitting. One is called Hello World and the other one is called String Library. Okay, and for each of these tutorials, you can see how many points they're worth. If you run into problems, it's probably easiest or easier, especially in this class, if you can hop into my live stream hours, because you can share your screen and then I can actually see what's going on. In these Visual Studio apps, sometimes where you think the problem is located is not actually where it started. So sometimes we have to backtrack a little bit. So it's not always easy to find the problems, and it's a lot easier if I can see it running. So I am doing all of my classes remotely this semester. So I'm around. So if you're working on something, please send me an email and we can figure out, you know, the soonest time possible to meet and resolve the problem. So that is kind of our first week. I don't think that the discussion glossary will take you very long. It will probably take you a little longer to do the VS community assignment, you know, depending on whether you've done anything with Visual Studio yet or not. Please watch the videos because I think they will help you. This course resource section is simply for you. These are just resources that you can use, not requirements or anything like that. But, if it's been a while since you've used HTML or jQuery, these are just links and resources that you can kind of review in your free time. And again, you could use these for professional development if you wanted to walk through some of the tutorials. If you run into problems, have questions, let me know. Have a great week, and I will be opening up the next block fairly soon, definitely before the 6th. So hang on, and there will be more.